Hello, and thank you for joining me today on this rainy Friday afternoon. Well, it rained and then the sun came out, and well, now it looks a little dreary again. But you are listening to the Financial Chick Show, and I'm your host, Denise Nostrom, the CEO and owner of Diversified Financial Solutions, a full-service independent financial planning firm located in Medford. I'm here live every Friday from 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 103.9 LI News Radio. Your Financial Chick is here to help you make better financial decisions and choices to improve your life and reduce your anxiety and stress about money. If you have any questions on anything we discuss here on the air, check out my website at financialchickshow.com or call my office at 631-758-8691. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Diversified Financial Solutions. So, I'm happy to be back live this week. Sadly, last week I was not live. There was just an unexpected occurrence, and if you do listen to the radio, to LI News Radio, I'm sure you've probably heard about this before, but maybe my listeners haven't. But back in the day, back in August of 2020 was when I started my radio show, and it was probably like June or July of 2020, so just about 3 years ago. A gentleman, David Levenstein, had contacted me via the phone, and he told me that he had, he was the program manager at the time, and he said that he was looking to do some change up to the radio. That on Friday, Sean Hannity used to run from 3 to 6, and he was looking to do Financial Fridays, starting within, I guess, like September of that year, or August. I guess it was August of that year. And I had never done radio, so I didn't know what to say or what to do. But I came to MacArthur Airport here, and I met with David. And just right away, he was just such a warm person, so nice and so sweet. And he kind of talked to me about everything. And although I was like scared to death, I said yes. And probably because of him, I would say that was one of the biggest reasons. I decided to start my show. Unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, he wasn't feeling so well, and he was coughing, and so I had been talking to him via text, and he had ended up in the hospital, and they found that his cancer had come back. And unfortunately, last Wednesday, I'm so sorry, last Wednesday he lost his fight with cancer. And so last Friday we were I went to the wake for him, and attended the funeral on Saturday. So today's my first show back live, and it's a little bit hard. I didn't want to cry, but I'm sorry. That's what's happening. I'm just going to miss him tremendously. He was a great guy. He was not only a guy that got me on the radio. He became a really good friend, and for all of us, I can say, for all of us people on the radio, he was always here for us. He would be at our shows, would reach out to us. We were very fortunate. Like we had a personal relationship. I'd go on his boat, he came on my boat, and so we had a really good relationship. And he was just caring. I mean, he didn't have to do the extra miles that he did, and he always did. He was at like I said, at our shows, and helping us and making adjustments and doing, just doing everything. And just not having him here tonight is just terrible. Although he wasn't here every week. I mean, he was here probably, I would say, 95% of the time. But it was a really hard situation, but just a few interesting stories, and just to show the gravity of the person that he was, and how influential he was in life. And I think he's going to be as influential in on the other side as well. So a couple of weeks ago, I had done a show where I did the Serenity Prayer. I was just talking about, the world in general, and the stock market, and everything that's going on, and how there are things we can control, and there are things that we can't control, hence the Serenity Prayer. So last week, we pulled a show to have a show on the air, obviously during my time slot here from 5:30 to 6, and I was driving to the wake, and I was listening to my show. I figured I really didn't, somebody pulled the show for me, so I really wasn't sure what show it was. And we got to the wake, and they have those cards that have all the information, usually a prayer, and then, the date of birth, date of death, and the person. And on the front of the card, it had the Serenity Prayer. Now it's just weird because honestly, like I really never do religious stuff on the radio, and not that it was religiously toned, but it was just a real coincidence that that show was airing while I was driving to his wake, and then I get to the wake, and that was the prayer. So that was one of our first signs. And the day that he passed, the Wednesday, which is when, of course, we had all the fires, there was really nothing happening. I mean, there was no wildlife, and it just, everything seemed really weird and quiet and somber. And outside the office on Wednesday, after we found out that he had passed, we saw a cardinal. And for those of you that know what that is, you get me. For those of you that know, and those who don't know, basically that's just definitely a sign from the other side. And so I guess in the last story, we went to the wake, and there was a few people from the radio station that were there. I'm sorry, went to the funeral on Saturday, and we were sitting there waiting, to go and have the priest talk. And we looked up in the section where he was being buried, and the radio station is 103.9, and he is buried in that cemetery at section 103. So it was almost like, and if you know David, you know he's like, listen, you guys are not going to forget about me, so now I'm going to have a section where you guys can't forget where I am, and you got to come see me. So David, I'm going to miss you tremendously. I'm still in shock. I mean, there's days I'm actually aggravated and mad. You had so much more life and so much more to give to this world, and I just don't get it. I really don't get it, but it's life and death, right? And then unfortunately this past weekend, last week was a really, really tough week. On Sunday, a good friend of ours, a friend of the family, he had buried his wife. And very similar story where it started with the coughing, and then she had, cancer that spread through her body, and, she had passed. And so it's just been, again, we have the phrase cancer sucks. And let me tell you something, it really does. It just takes people by surprise. And this unexpected stuff is just really, really hard to endure. It really, really is. So thank you for listening, and this was a bit cathartic for me. Like I said, it's a hard day, and like I said, things are going to be very different here. I still love my radio show, but until we get things in place, it's just David was a big person, and it's going to be a different vibe here at the radio studio. So, all right. Well, of course, it was another busy week. This week our former president, Donald Trump, was indicted again. I feel like it was deja vu from April. It's interesting because some very scathing things had come out about Biden, and has been coming out about Biden for a very long time, but nobody seems to care too much about that. So, as in lieu of the I would tell you that I'm going to keep you on track. So there are 500 days until the election day, and 583 days left in the Biden presidency. So, like I said, put on your hard hats, because it's going to be a rough ride for the next year and a half or so. It is going to be quite interesting. But in addition, it's been a very, very busy week. I have a new employee in my office that started last Monday. We're going to introduce him real soon, but I'm really, really excited. And for those of you that know the situation, it has been utterly a nightmare with staffing. And I know many of you as business owners I've talked to, you're having the same situations. It's a new world order for sure. But I had an assistant that I had to get rid of in the early December. Just was making way too many errors and mistakes, and just not doing the right thing. And then I went through a staffing agency, and then I had got somebody on that, unbeknownst to us, had an addiction problem, opioids. So that was interesting. And then I've been working solo with just Brian and myself, and so we've been really inundated, and things have been a lot. We're trying to keep up as best as we can, so please bear with us. It has been quite an interesting time, but we do have a dynamite new employee that I can't wait to introduce you all to. Some of my clients have come into the office and met him already, and yes, it's a him. I have an all-male office now, and so we're excited, and we're excited to get back on track and to really do some big things. And like I said, I just hit my 27th anniversary, so I start planning for the 30th. So we want to have a big party like we did for the 20th. So I'm excited. There's a lot of really good things that are coming up, but we're going to be hitting the break really soon. But please stay tuned, because I'm going to talk about some things, what to do to prepare if someone does happen to pass unexpectedly, and there are things you can prepare for. It's not fun and it's not exciting and not a good thing, but you know what? It's something that happens. We all know we're going to go at some point, hopefully not too soon, but sometimes that happens. But like I said, stay tuned after the break. You're listening to the Financial Chick Show, and I'm the Financial Chick, and I'll see you after the break. Hi everybody, just kind of a little downtrodden today. It's just, how many minutes do we have?
Sorry, my connection, oh look at that, it's working, okay, under 90 seconds now.
Oh, 90 seconds, okay, all right. That's a quick break.
Yeah.
All right, well it's all good.
And then you got 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're getting back really soon. My hair looks like crazy here. But thank you all for tuning in, and I appreciate you sharing some time with me today.
$60 seconds.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back. This is Denise Nostrom. Okay.
I just nod at people like that.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to go. I was like, oh my God, I didn't hear the music. We'll get this together. We're all good.
I always nod at people like that when I'm just like, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, John. Thanks.
Yeah, 20 seconds.
Okay, you got it. Welcome back. This is Denise Nostrom, the Financial Chick. My company's in Medford, and you can reach me at 631-758-8691 or visit my website at financialchickshow.com. I'm here to help you on your financial journey. Over the years, things change, and I'm here to help you navigate all of those changes. So we had a bit of a somber first half, just talking about, I guess, the inevitable, but sometimes when it's unexpected, it becomes a very difficult thing. Like I said, so we lost David Levenstein, so God rest in peace, David. And then also I want to say a shout out to Joe Churchio and his son Charlie for the loss of their wife and mother, Linda. So with that, when you're having to deal with the death and all of the different things that go on, it's very, very challenging. There's a lot. So you're not only processing, the death of a loved one, but, there's so many things that you have to think about. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today and let you know that this is something that our office does. We help people to take some of the burden off their life, knowing that they have so many things that they have to do. So know that we're here. People think they have to, and obviously your attorneys are very important and your accountants are super important, but your financial advisor, like myself, should be a key ingredient to helping you navigate some of these things. And the way that I work with my clients, I typically work with most, if not all, of their assets. So, I can be a main resource. That we have a situation right now where a woman, she needs to change her beneficiary on her life insurance policy, and it's not something that I had offered to her. It's something that she came to me with, and she's been procrastinating and not doing it, and I keep reminding her, and she's saying she's going to do it. And not that we want to make people crazy, but at the same time, my job is to keep you on track and have your documents in order. So there's a few things that you need to do when there's a passing. The first thing would be locating the will, if somebody has a will. the will is kind of your main ingredient that's going to tell you where things are, or not even where things are, but where things have to go. Who is the executor? Where are some of the documents, or who are the people that are going to be able to handle and settle that estate? You want to notify, obviously, people, a person's place of employment, family members, that type of thing, so the actual people. You want to, if the person was working, to get the employee benefits, to find out, what things are there, if there were any type of insurance, pension, if they have, and you may know, again, if whether it's a spouse or a a child, an aunt, an uncle, whatever the case would be. Sometimes the relationship, if it's close, you may know more of these things. If you're not close, in terms of being like a child or an aunt or something like that, you may not know all the documents that they have. So you're going to try to gather as much information that you can, so you can get a good picture of what that person has. You want to request copies of the death certificates or anything that you're going to need to settle for that person that's passed. They're going to require death certificates, and in some cases you're going to need originals, and in some cases they will accept photocopies, but definitely order a good amount of them depending on the type of assets that a client, that the deceased person has. You want to notify all insurance companies and find out benefits. So you're going to notify the employer, see if there's any employer insurance, but if the person has insurance on the outside, personal insurance, and you're going to notify the Social Security Administration. What's very interesting that there's all these databases, and I guess AI is part of this, and the information goes pretty quickly. Sometimes when we get notice from a family member that one of our clients has passed, we'll call the company, whether it be an annuity company, a mutual fund company, and sometimes they know before we do, which is really, really crazy. So I think there's lists that are kind of put out to various companies, and they know that people have passed. So when you call and they say they know, don't be surprised. That could definitely be in play. You want to take a look at any type of property that you have and how it's held, whether it's held in the person's name, or if it's a spouse jointly held, or in your spouse's name or your significant other's name. You want to take a look at bank accounts. Now you want to jump into the bank accounts, investment accounts, any type of credit cards. Maybe a good idea to send a letter to all 3 major credit bureaus to let them know that this person has passed on. And obviously the biggest thing, notify your accountants, your tax preparers, if you use a tax preparer, financial advisors, attorneys, and other professionals. And one of the big things is closing email accounts and social media. So as you can see, this is just not an exhaustive list. It's kind of a minimal list, but there's so many things that you need to address and take care of. So have somebody help you. It's a time where there's a lot going on, and you're trying to process things and just trying to get through the anger and the sadness and the depression. You're going to go through many different highs and lows, and you're really not thinking about these types of things. So put it into somebody else's court, so to speak. I actually right now we're working from a client perspective, working on 3 death claims at the moment. I had one client, a mom had passed. She was up in age. She was 91 years old, but she had an IRA account, and she has 4 daughters. And I was notified of the death back in April. I'm sorry, in March. And to these things take some time. So by the time we got the death certificate, and we had to get all the documentation and to get all the documents to all the 4 daughters, and then coordinate getting all those documents back. One of the key ingredients there too, especially if it's a mutual fund, which this is a mutual fund IRA, the values are going to change all the time. So we're very cognizant of the fact of waiting to get everybody's forms back. So let's just say that the account is worth $100,000. So each one of those daughters would get $25,000. But if we process one before getting the other 3, let's say the market went down tremendously, those other 3 may get a little bit less. So there's a lot to think about that, you're probably either A, not in the position to think about, or B, you may not even think about it at all, because it's just, there's too much going on. So that's one of the death claims that we're dealing with. And, these children, or in this case, children have choices to make too. Since it being an IRA and they were the beneficiaries on that IRA, they had a choice to cash it out, or they had a choice to take that IRA as their own IRA. Now, why would a person do either one of those things? Well, if they need the money, they take the money, but unfortunately, it's going to be taxed fully at that time. So when you decide to take that distribution from the IRA, even though it wasn't your IRA, it's still IRA money, you're going to have to pay federal and state taxes on that. Now, if you opted to say, I'm going to take it under my own name and make it my own IRA, you can hold that IRA for a certain period of time, and you could just take it out slowly over 10 years. And the entire money has to be out after 10 years, but what you can do is now you can spread out your tax liability. So if you're working, or maybe you sold a house or whatever, you could do some tax planning. So like I said, not to be redundant, but there's so many choices that you need to, not choices, but there's so many decisions that you need to make, and let somebody give you those choices, but also explain those choices to you so you can make the best educated decision. Because the first thing that most people say, don't we just take the money out? And then they do the taxes next year and they realize they have a big tax burden. So don't make any financial decisions for a while. Let yourself heal and feel and get better before you make all of this stuff. You don't have to rush to do it. I wouldn't say wait years, but you do have time to actually, to do all the things that you need to do, and there's really no rush to do that. So I just highly encourage you to meet with a professional, have your attorney work in tandem with your financial advisor. Just make your life easier. Use the resources that you have, especially at a time that's so difficult for you. So again, if you have questions, feel free to call my office at 631-758-8691. But again, when you think of financial advisors, you think it's just the investments, but a comprehensive, holistic financial advisor will help you in all areas of your financial world. So that's what I'm here. Definitely call me. Thank you so much for being with me today. I know we have a federal holiday on Monday, Juneteenth, so stock and bond markets will be closed. So we will be closed. But if you have a 3-day weekend, have a great one. Enjoy. Hopefully we're going to have a good weather. I think it's going to rain tomorrow, but I think we're going to pull it out for Sunday and Monday. So enjoy the summer. And, summer weather. It's not summer yet, but, I love summer, so I'm going to say summer. So take care, be well, and I look forward to being with you next week. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I felt it was a little off today. It's been a rough week with all the loss, and but then the great week in having a new employee. So we'll talk more about that another time, but I wanted to kind of dedicate this to David today. I'm going to miss him tremendously. All right. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.